Today I canned blackberry syrup, and this is how I did it. The first thing I needed to do was to extract the juice from the blackberries, and for that I used my steam juicer. If you've never seen one of these before, it's 3 pots. You put water in the bottom pot, and then the juice will fall into the center pot, and it has a hose on it that you can extract the juice from this pot through. And then the top part has holes in it so that the steam will rise through this pot and it'll drop down into the center one. And all you do is put your food in the top pot and put the lid on, turn on the stove, and it will extract the juice. It took about 30 or 45 minutes to juice these berries. Doing it this way, you get a nice clear juice. If you don't have one of these, you could use a food strainer. I have a Victorio food strainer and a berry screen here. And as you can see, the juice and pulp comes out the front, and all the seeds and unwadded pieces come out of that chute on the left-hand side. The strainer is wobbling a little bit because I didn't have it attached well on the countertop. And if you don't have any of these gadgets, you could just mash up the berries and strain them through a cloth. Now for every 5 cups of juice, I added 6 3/4 cups of sugar. And I have way too much in this pot and ended up boiling over when it got hot and expanded. And I ended up with a big mess to clean up and a bonfire. So you don't want to fill the pot up this much. So I brought the syrup to a boil and I boiled it for 1 minute. I skimmed off the foam. Now I'm ready to can. I took a hot bottle and I filled it to within 1/2 inch of the top. I always get a lot of questions about these bottles. I buy them off of a website called Fillmore Containers, and I'll put a link in the description box if you're interested in it. They are in Pennsylvania, and they charge actual shipping. So if you're on the East Coast, the shipping's not so bad on buying from them. But if you're on the West Coast, people say that they just can't afford the shipping cost. So I've been very happy with everything I've ever bought from them. And I'm not affiliated with them at all, but I am proud to say that they do subscribe to my channel and watch my videos. If you buy the bottles, there are 2 types as far as the way they're threaded along the top. One is called a lug type, and that's the type of bottle that is used commercially, and they have a continuous thread type, which is threaded similar to the way canning jars are threaded. That's what you want. You want the bottles that are labeled CT for continuous thread. Then I wipe the rim of the jar clean, and I take a hot lid and put it on firmly. Then I set the bottle in the water bath canner to stay warm until I have all the bottles full. Once all the bottles were full and they were in the canner, I made sure that there was at least 1 inch of water covering the tops. Then I put the lid on the canner, brought it back up to a boil, and I processed them for 10 minutes. When the 10 minutes was up, I turned off the heat, removed the lid, and let it sit for 5 minutes. Then I removed the bottles from the pot and set them on a towel on the counter to cool. And if you live at high altitudes, you need to adjust your processing time to suit your altitude. If you don't have bottles, you can certainly use jars. And this turns out great. You can use it on ice cream or pancakes, waffles, whatever you want to. It turns out great. So that's how I canned blackberry syrup. I hope it helps.